Welcome to the 2016 InStyle Oscars Dress Debate. I'm Eric Wilson, Fashion News Director of the magazine, and with me are fashion designer Misha Nonoo, who has created some amazing red carpet dresses herself and is certainly pals with Gwyneth and Sarah Jessica Parker and the Middletons, and my friend Roy Luwolt, who is the co-founder of Malone Souliers, one of the coolest new shoewear lines in the market. This is certainly going to be an interesting year for the Oscars with a few close races and a lot of controversy over a lack of diversity, but we're here to talk about fashion. Let's talk about Cate Blanchett, the ultimate queen of the red carpet. She makes virtually every best dressed list that I write for InStyle, and I think that when it comes to the fashion stakes, we're most excited to see what she's going to wear that night. It's hard for me to think of an example in recent fashion that I haven't been wowed by her, from the incredibly eclectic fun dresses she wears, like the Giles Deacon, almost Star Wars-like print from Cannes Film Festival, to last year's amazing Oscars dress, the Maison Margiela black raw edge dress that she paired with this incredible Tiffany necklace of turquoise. Just incredible. But what do you think it is about Cate that she manages to get so much right?
I mean, you know, it's funny because we've had some sort of big, business fancy about her as well, in that we've always seen her as one of the top 3 women you'd pick to represent your brand, to be an ambassador, and blah, blah, blah. And it's interesting because I came to the conclusion that it's because she's one of the very few women, thespians, who is really a thespian, who doesn't really walk around the socialite circle and just gets the work done, goes for her awards, goes home. So when she does come out with a beautiful, like the Armani Privé dress from a few years ago, despite being one of the most expensive that's ever been worn on the red carpet, she just wears it very demurely, if you will, and it belongs to Cate. It's not even Cate Blanchett, it's just Cate,
I think I agree with you. She is the most, I think every brand would like her as their ambassador. We've actually been very lucky in that we have actually dressed her before, and that was such a highlight. I think the reason being is that she has this innate nobility and elegance that speaks to all different age demographics. And I think that ultimately the thing with Cate Blanchett is that she pulls everything off because she's so cool. And I think that she has a daring about her that actually means she doesn't really care. And as a result, I think that she has a character. And I think to your point about being a real thesp, she has this character and she's like, well, I'll take on all these different roles, and I think she'll do that with fashion too. And that's what makes her so fun to watch. She plays with color, she plays with, accents and jewelry, and she's just statuesque in whatever she puts on.
So what do you want to see her wear come Oscars night?
I think I would be very thrilled if I would see her for the very first time wear an unknown designer or an emerging designer, simply because, of course, very much like Misha says, everyone aspires to, a Cate, be it Misha having dressed her, or even we, in terms of an ambassadorial concept. It's one of those that I think basically for our generation certainly leads the charge in all things exquisite. So, anyone as young as even, I'll give you Azet Jean-Pierre or someone like that, that would be life-changing, I think.
Would be life-changing. My prediction is that for such a big night as the Oscars, when I think that most stars actually, you see them make their, they tread carefully around the Oscars, whereas you often see in the awards before that, the award ceremonies before that they actually do something a little bit more daring. I think you'll probably see her wear Armani, but I agree, I would love to see her wear somebody younger, even somebody younger like, a Givenchy.
Of course.
Riccardo. I think that what she does, whenever she wears him, it's pure magic. Absolutely. I also loved when she wore Maison Margiela, designed by Galliano. I thought that was stunning, and the simplicity and with that incredible Tiffany necklace. I think that there's something to be said for when she really goes so classic and just has one accent and statement piece. But I imagine it's going to be Armani actually on the night.
I'm 50-50 Armani to Givenchy. Simply because I'm leaning toward Armani because I think it's been a while since she's worn it to such a high profile event.
Yes.
And it's about time.
Yes.
According to all the Oscar pundits, Brie Larson has this trophy locked up. She won the Globe, she won the SAG Award. Now, has she won the fashion stakes? That's a whole nother question. She's a relative newcomer to the red carpet, even though she's had a lot of incredible hits with major designers. We really don't quite know yet what she's going to wear. What do you think of her debut so far?
You know, I've actually had the great pleasure of meeting Brie in person and dressing her very early on in her career. And she is the most charming, beguiling character. And I think that that really shows through in how she's making her decisions right now. I think that she's actually kind of testing the waters and seeing what fits. I don't know that she's necessarily found the perfect glove yet, but I think that, for example, when she wore that beautiful red Calvin Klein halter neck column gown, that was a real highlight for me. And I think that she's so beautiful and has incredible coloring that she can really, not only can she wear color, but I think that she can take something, she's tall, she can take something that is a little bit cleaner. She doesn't need all the bells and whistles. For me, the Prada piece at the Met Gala that she wore was just a little bit distracting. So I think actually the more classic that she goes, the better. That's not to say that I don't think she'd be amazing in something a bit more ethereal too, actually. Like I think she could really pull off a Chloe or something a bit more feminine like a Stella McCartney too. She hasn't quite tried.
Roy, did you like that Calvin Klein dress she wore to the Globe?
I did. You know, it's interesting, however, I would almost say, because she's got a very classicist face and demeanor about her, and I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her just yet, of course, but I think she's one of those younger actresses that could easily sort of come across a bit older in terms of the way she very, very gently presents herself and isn't particularly excitable in the red carpet and is merely a very restrained human being when it comes to, you know, her presentation. I think, you know, it's quite difficult to say at this point any further that she is an underappreciated actress, which I'd thought till this award season. But I think in the same way, again, I hate to agree with Misha because I can't help it, but Misha's absolutely right. I think she is certainly one of those discovering herself, but you can also tell that she's discovering herself, not through stylist only, which is a beautiful process, because then we're going to look back a few years from now and think, oh, wow, this woman has really become herself, you know, on the red carpet beyond just the movies. Mm-hmm. So.
And I think what's so interesting also is that the film that she's nominated for, her performance is so deeply disturbing.
Absolutely.
It's so moving and emotional. And I wonder if what she decides to actually go with in the end
maybe rhythmic to that.
may have some, you know, it may be instrumental in terms of the actual performance.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Oscars venue calls for a more serious fashion statement, not so much of the young, the sexy that she's been going for so far. So my pick would be Tom Ford, who, you know, when he creates his one look for one celebrity at the awards, he really considers all of these elements and what kind of impact
this is true.
That's going to make. What would you like to see her in?
I would like to see her in a Stella McCartney or a Chloe.
I'm voting for Roxanda or Celine.
Great.
All the way.
Right.
I think, again, it's playful, it's young, but also it's quite serious-minded in that sort of context of a serious red carpet look, but at the same time, it's a statement.
Jennifer Lawrence continues to captivate audiences, and her latest film, Joy, was certainly delightful to see her in. But on the red carpet, I think we know what to expect. Dior. Dior. But she has a relationship with the house. She started to take a few chances lately and move into a few different directions. I like the kind of lingerie effect look that she wore in the black dress from Schiaparelli, another one from Ralph Lauren. What do you think is going on with her, and where do you see her likelihood in terms of choices this time?
Well, it's manifold. I agree with you. I think that it probably will be Dior because we all know that she has a contract with Dior. And the one thing I will say about that is that at least she's very open about having a contract with the house. Sure. So, you know, it's not, some celebrities have contracts, they don't talk about it. But Jennifer Lawrence is such an authentic being that, you know, I think it's just part of her that it's so open. Would I love to see her in something else? Yes. I, similarly to you, loved her in the Schiaparelli Couture. I thought it was so high. You can tell that she's just a cool chick. And, you know, wearing that lingerie-inspired look was just stunning. I would love to see her in Saint Laurent. I think that she would be so rock and roll, and she's got that cool hair, and I just think that she would pull off something that was kind of a little bit sexy and a little bit cheeky. And I think that if anybody can do that for the Oscars, where it is more serious and it's a more mature affair, it could be her.
See, Jennifer Lawrence I find to be one of those actresses that's fulfilling all our hopes, effectively. I find the Dior thing to be a little bit more than just the actual relationship with the house, but more so an element of a show, a symbol of, if you will, self-awareness. She knows what she likes and she goes for it. You know, she's also not the sort of actress, knowing personally, that would just do things simply because it's been arranged by the people around her. For that reason, I think, again, considering the changes, corporate changes, if you will, within Dior at the moment, I think you might see her venture a little bit further. Now, this isn't a prediction, this is a hope, you know, and I would actually say, and this is completely left field, I would hope to see her in something that goes towards Del Pozo or something within even maybe more recent Oscar de la Renta, you know, so something that's Jennifer Lawrence stubbornness and that element that seems to be quite consistent in her roles and her personality in real life as well, but then has a very stately element about it that's not stuffy whatsoever.
For sure. It is an interesting moment because, for those who don't know, the designer of Dior, Raf Simons, left after the last collection, leaving perhaps a little less of a creative direction there. So
Correct.
For an event as important as this, I'm sure that she will take into account the fact that it's still going to be really talked about what she wears. At the same time, she's not the leading contender, so she has an opportunity to have a little bit of fun on this
Correct.
night. She does not have to wear a dress that will cause her to trip.
No,
It could be something young and fun. It could be something bright and sexy.
Could you imagine her in something that's like a jumpsuit? Can you imagine how incredible she would be in a jumpsuit and she wears something, you know, really, I think there's so much that she could do. The fact that Amy Schumer is one of her best friends just means that she's got a sense of humor and she's a fun girl.
Of course you have to.
And I think that it's unfortunate we haven't seen that in how she dresses for these occasions yet. But I think it will come out at some point. You know, she has a long and steady career ahead of her for sure.
Let's cross our fingers. Next up is Charlotte Rampling. As you may know, she waded into the controversy over the lack of diversity among the nominees and made some rather awkward statements. So she's going to face a lot of criticism on the red carpet and I'm certain a lot of questions. But as for fashion, that's another story.
She's such an icon. Growing up in the UK, she's a major icon. I think the thing for me is that I always think of her as being naked rather than clothed. And she looks so good naked. I mean, there's Helmut Newton shots. But I think that ultimately she's so hauntingly beautiful that she kind of is one of those Jane Birkin, you know, fashion. She has such a legacy that there's nothing about her that you wouldn't love to see her in from those days. But she has a simplicity to her in her fashion. And as you've seen with things that she wears in the past, it tends to be tuxedo inspired. And I think she could do something incredible. She has an amazing figure. The whole thing about diversity, as you say, it's probably a little bit awkward for her, but it's fantastic that there's someone who's 70 years old who looks that amazing on the red carpet. And if you think about old Yves Saint Laurent, when he used to do the smoking and he had the peak lapel tuxedo, you know, the cummerbund, that pencil trouser, very, 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 very finely cut. I would love to see her wearing something like that on the red carpet.
What do you think?
I mean, Charlotte Rampling, I happen to come from the UK as well. And, you know, it's interesting. She is one of those emblems of fashion always loves to have something it can't have. You know, I think fashion has been trying to get its hands on her for decades, very much so. But because she is the woman who does as she pleases, quite clearly and respectably so, I think it'll be quite interesting if, for one, she decides to actually play with trend, but just dip a toe. You know, so for instance, a Charles Harbison, maybe merge with a Michelle Ellie, or even something as silly as perhaps a Roland Mouret, but kind of a more day-wear version on the red carpet. And perhaps, I mean, oddly enough, I would actually go back to Saint Laurent for her, simply because she's got the tux element you speak of, a very beautiful silhouetted, slim line, black and white, which again, I think she can certainly play with all these brands, but also not be brand dead. You know, I love when, you know, every single media outlet has to wonder for days what exactly she did wear, and perhaps she could do that within the fray without actually representing the fray, you know. Charlotte Rampling is everything we all grew up on, and, you know, she continues to be everything that we're growing up with, you know, and I think really as to what she's going to wear, none of us can call it, you know, so we've just got to respect the mystery of it.
Fair enough. I'll give one possibility, though, is that bringing up that she appeared in a Marc Jacobs advertising campaign.
She
just
did,
a
yes.
few years ago.
Indeed.
And there's a nice a nice little parallel there in that Marc is a designer who has never been afraid to court controversy. So they could be kindred spirits in a sense. So
Yeah.
I would think that would actually be a nice moment to see.
Definitely. I mean, to your point, I think that she is beyond brand in a sense. But I also think it could be incredible if she did something like a Sharon Stone, you know, from way back when, with the incredible white shirt, some insane jewels, and, you know, a tuxedo pant. Something just super simple, and it's really all about, you know, that a beautiful face.
Yeah, she'll own it.
She'll own it, whatever it is.
As the last nominee, Saoirse Ronan has really captured everyone's attention just because she's so adorable. I was absolutely in love with the dress that she wore for Michael Kors to the SAG Awards. That form-fitting pink lace was youthful looking, but it wasn't bare, which I think we're all a little bit tired of seeing bare midriffs on the red carpet. Not that that's going to go away anytime soon, but it's nice to see so many young actors dressing in a more classic way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think her look is so delicate, so ethereal, so feminine. It's interesting, some of the looks that she's worn lately have been ivory, soft pink, soft blue, so pastels, again, speaking to that femininity. I think she's probably a real wild card, similar to Brie Larson. She has all the opportunity in the world. She doesn't, she's just stepping out onto the stage and she's got an incredible platform to play with right now. But I would love to see her support young British design talent, being that she's an Irish girl herself. I think she would be stunning if she wanted to go a little bit more classic in something like an Erdem. Something that's floral or has ruffles, or something that's beaded. And then if she wanted to go a little bit more edgy, I think it could be incredible to do something like custom Simone Rocha.
I've always adored her as an actress whose age was really difficult to actually guess, simply because for some reason she refers my memory quite often to a Cate Blanchett, like an earlier, younger Cate Blanchett, if you will. And they've got the same, it seems, and not to speak much as though I know of the process, but very much a very particular immersion in the roles that they do take on. And it's funny because at the same time, she does live that very same person after the fact. Always someone beyond her age, wiser beyond her years and all that. And you can see that a lot in silhouettes of the things that she actually does wear. Now, I would really hope to see her in a little bit more of a fitted length. Yes, the length is great. I think it works perfectly for her. But I think you can get a sense from her that she doesn't care for trend. She cares for personal style. So I'm actually thinking of numero 21 as the main person that she may attempt. It's quite an interesting one, therefore, though, if she were to play with Italian designers, which is where I would go with that. I feel as though it would give her a bit more of an accent that she hasn't played with, which really still gives you a very stately presentation. And I think, she's more than earned it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Yeah.
But if you want to go fitted and British,
Right.
how about Victoria Beckham?
She's won Victoria Beckham before.
Yeah,
quite a
she
few
has won
times.
Victoria Beckham. I don't know if Victoria Beckham, in my mind, I don't think she's so va-va-voom. And I think of Victoria Beckham as being, just because of the way that she started, I suppose, more va-va-voom.
I would agree.
I don't see it. I think she's just a bit more of like a beautiful fairy who
I do see a
floats along
Rocha.
the red carpet.
Yeah, I see a Rocha, to your points, actually. Yes, numero 21 is quite unlikely, but at the same time, if you were to go for, again, something more, island, mainland, there is an option of Rocha whereby, of course, you still get all the rich embellishment, but again, still the length and a bit more fit, and I think that's precisely where I would go with that if we were allowed to have her venture out a little bit. But, everything she's won so far has been very much hers. It'll be nice for us to remember that, she can play with it as she plays across different roles as well.
What do you think, Eric?
I still like the idea of a British designer, and I do think Victoria has changed the silhouette. She's actually brought a lot of evening into the collection, starting with the pre-fall. So it's a possibility, but maybe Stella McCartney would make sense in this case as well. Very youthful, very fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Our debate would not be complete without at least a nod to the Best Supporting Actress nominees, who include several up-and-coming stars, as well as some established ones who have a very tried-and-true style on the red carpet. Who are you most excited about from this group?
Personally, I'm most excited about Alicia Vikander. She's nominated for her role in a friend of mine, Tom Hooper's film, The Danish Girl, and I think that she is absolutely outstanding in that role. I think that the past, 18 months, she's just come out of nowhere and has had such, she's a formidable actress. And not only that, but she's so beautiful. So I think that, she's probably going to be wearing Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
I think that's probably something we can call. She has a contract with the house. But I actually really love her relationship with the house. I think that she's an actress that really fits the bill with what Nicolas Ghesquière is doing very, very well. I think she's perfect and very on brand And I think from the various things that she's worn, that beautiful white, almost like apron dress, down to the much more zany, colourful sequined piece that she wore with long sleeves, whatever she wears from them, it seems appropriate. So I'll be very excited to see what she wears, I imagine, from them on Oscar night.
Yep.
For me, it's the girl you never see coming. That's Rooney Mara. And you know what? Her style has been marvelous every single time, but I would easily see her in a Valentino or a Balenciaga or even an Edeline Lee. A brand that says, as much as we've been around for so long, we can still hold it in as a youthful dress. And she does youthful perfectly while still being very beautifully established about what she actually wears, you know. So I'm excited to see what she plays with, really.
And I think we can count on some of the others to wear their traditional bodycon jewel tone dresses. It's what works for them. Personally, it's a toss up to me too between Rooney and Alicia. I think the Vuitton, given how amazing that dress was at the SAG Awards, that topped the best dress. And I think this one is going to have to be even better.
Yes, absolutely.
Wait.
We'll wait bated breath.
So you've heard what we have to say, and I hope you take some time to go through the collections and pick out your favorite looks for your favorite stars. But let's say thanks to our guests, Misha Nonoo and Roy Luwolt, who took the time to give us their predictions.
Thank you.
Very much.